Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and a very good evening, everyone. We meet again in our weekly talk, which is the ANSARA Muda Career Talk Master Series 2021. Thank you very much for all of you who are watching us right now through the Zoom platform and also Facebook Live. On behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to express our special thanks to our strategic partner who has providing us with this wonderful platform to share our knowledge tonight. We have here Unit Perkhidmatan Bimbingan and Counseling MRSM Taiping, Center for Foundation Studies University Technology Petronas, TNF Energy Sendirian Berhad, Amans Media, and Outpost Taiping. Before we move any further, let us recite the Ummul Kitab Al-Fatihah. Okay, so now our topic for today is Petroleum Geoscience, Job Opportunities and Career Prospect. So to explain in detail about our topic tonight, we have with us tonight is our special guest, which is Mr. Aidel Haikal Azmi from batch 2008. He is now currently the Geoscientist in Sarawak Venture Petronas. So for the audience, if you have any question, as usual, you can voice out your question through the chat box in this Zoom and also through the comment section in Facebook. So without further ado, I will invite Mr. Aidel to the screen. Over to you, Mr. Aidel.
Okay. All right. Okay, everybody can see my screen right now, yeah?
Yes, we can.
Okay, all right. Assalamualaikum and very good evening to you all. I am Aidel Haikal Azmi. I am 30 years old this year, and I, like the moderator said just now, I am a geoscientist in Sarawak Venture, PETRONAS CARIGALI. So a little bit about myself. I will straight away go to MRSM Taiping because I think in my journey of school education, the one that makes a lot of difference is starting from MRSM Taiping throughout. So I went to MRSM Taiping back in 2007 and 2008. Once I passed my SPM, I went for 2 interviews. I got a 2 interview offer from Mara and Petronas. However, Petronas is the only one that offered me to study in University Technology Petronas, offering Petroleum Geoscience course. It encompasses 1 year of foundation program in UTP and 4 years in Petroleum Geoscience course. So basically, this is where I built up my my repo throughout the whole year in UTP, in which I am an avid hiker and I'm also a kayaker. Back then used to be in UTP, and based on that repo is what I bring to the interview in the next phase of my career life. Okay, so geoscience. Have you ever wonder how all this nature was formed? If you would like geoscience, if you are keep on wondering what is the secret behind the formation of these features. For example, the Mount Everest, we are familiar with it, but one thing that I don't think many of us knew is that Mount Everest is basically used to be what was below the sea back then, millions of years ago, but now it is the highest peak in the world. But you will wonder that what is the secret behind this formation of such features, right? And geoscience comes in which is the science that basically draw on the biology, chemistry, mathematics, physics, and as well as engineering. So it almost encompasses all of the almost all of the field, and it is more than just rocks, because basically people always associate geology with rocks only, but it's more than that. It's actually a study that involves earth science and the processes and system that work together. It is basically, how to say, how they react with each other, rocks, water, and etc, etc. Okay, so today the topic content I will briefly touch. I wouldn't say, but I'll try to make it as simple, but a lot of information can be given to you guys. First, what is petroleum geoscience? And then the longer topic that we will touch upon, it will be the roles of petroleum geoscientists, and we will look at career path in geology. Specifically would be on my personal pathway that I've gone through, and the future outlook of this career. Okay, so what is petroleum geoscience? So basically, we know about black gold. So black gold is basically oil, and basically it makes up almost all of your everyday items. If you look to your handset, for example, the cover behind it, the plastic cover, the basically almost everything that is related to plastic, there will be some sort of association with oil. So it is important to our daily life, and in order to extract this petroleum, you will need geoscientists to first understand it and the science behind it. It doesn't just come as a magic, right? It comes with a process in which we need to understand. So we look at geologic history of petroleum, describing how the petroleum is generated, migrated, as well as accumulated in the subsurface. So our job as a geoscientist, we are basically learning how the earth acts, and our job is to interpret and predict where is this hydrocarbon resources, and we manage the risks and uncertainties during the exploitation of the resources. Okay, so what are the role of geoscientists? There is, if you familiar with field life cycle, I will touch a bit of field life cycle. So basically, when you want to drill something, right? I think you are familiar with drilling. When you want to drill something, that something is what we call a field. That field is something that is under subsurface. We cannot see it, but once we know that they deposit oil or gas, they will go through 5 stages of field life cycle. So the first one would be exploration, appraisal, development, production, and in the end, the decommissioning part. So basically, where are we as a petroleum geoscientist? Where do we situate it in? So the first one, for me right now, currently I'm working as an exploration geoscientist. So my job is to prospect a deposit, in which my job, first I need to study the area of interest, and a cumulative ways of studying will derive your conclusion whether that area is prospective or not. So for example, I'll give you an example. If you're familiar with offshore uh, Terengganu or Sarawak or Sabah, we know that they have oil or gas over there, right? So that is one way that we know that at exploration phase, okay, we know that this basin have oil or gas, but we are talking about thousands of square kilometers spread overseas, and we can't see what's inside. So my first job is to delineate where are the potential area based on the data that we must acquire or analyze. And first, it will start with basin assessment, which is the bigger scale. Numerical simulations will be done in which they will do construction of basins millions of years ago, the construction of it, and how will it form to this present day. So that's how you try to predict whether there is oil or gas in this basin. Once it is confirmed, we will go for a geological survey. Sorry, I mean the geophysical survey, in which we'll do seismic survey, magnetic survey, gravity, etc. And this seismic survey, magnetic, gravity is basically a tool for us geoscientists um, to make sure to find a prospective area to work on. So once we have already identified a prospect of a prospect, we will make sure whether it is economical or geological correct or not. And to do so, the only way is to drill it. So that is where we come in. We will propose to our company, let's say Petronas, okay, I will need some amount of money. There are returns in terms of, let's say we find it with this amount of volume, it will give certain amount of money back to you financially. So if, let's say, the management believes in your prospect, saying that yes, this prospect can make money for us, they will give the money and we will proceed with drilling. So the results obtained during the drilling of the exploration well will indicate whether first our geological hypotheses are correct or whether actually there are variations, because let's face it, it is under subsurface. We don't know what's down there. Only Allah knows. But we only use an educated guess. I would say educated guess to propose. So in the end, we will fine tune it to make sure that we can go for the next stage. So as can everybody see my cursor?
Yes, we can see.
Okay. So if you look at my cursor, for example, this bamboo prospect. So basically my job is to map all the subsurface and try to find where's the prospective area. In this case, I can see that my prospect is here at the top and the bottom one, because there are structures that usually associated to where the oil and gas are deposited. Okay, next phase is we go for the appraisal phase. So once the exploration has proved that there is accumulation of hydrocarbons, we will still need to know the extension of this hydrocarbon, because let's face it, let's say you are drilling a big hill, for example, one pipe cannot tell that's been drilled, cannot tell that the extension of it is until where. You have a geological model, but in the end you will need to put a few other pipes to make sure that, okay, I've already proven my geological model that is until to that extent. So during the appraisal stage, more wells are drilled to collect the information and samples from the reservoirs to better delineate the reservoir. So the function is, like I said just now, to reduce the range of uncertainty, because from the first well, there's too much uncertainty, although you already found your oil and gas. But in order to know whether it's economical or not, you will need to reduce the range of uncertainty. Unless, I will cover it later on, there are certain cases that are a bit different. And the last but not least is during the development phase. Basically during the development phase, the reservoirs engineers are mostly the ones that drive the development stage of a field. But one thing that you should know, they will still need a geoscientist input. So they still need to work together with us because we have been the project owner from the very beginning. So this project owner will of course know what has been done for the past 2 to or maybe 4 to 5 years before we come to a development phase. So in which these inputs are later used to build a geological model. So for example, I show here, this is a model in which it is used, they in which they add up some sort of how do you want to forecast whether the profile for the oil or gas output is going to be in the next 10 or maybe 35 years, for example, or is there going to be probably just 5 years forecast model. So that sort of things you need to know. So during the development phase is where you do that, because once you already forecast all this profile, you will later design a development concept, whether we want to drill 3 well, 10, or maybe more than that, or even less probably. So it all depends on these inputs. So as what I've said, these activities that involve in the development stage, it comprises of a lot of people: geologists, geophysicists, reservoir engineers, drilling engineers, production, logistic, drilling, a lot. So development phase is where team, I think I would say the biggest one lah, needed to execute the project. So in Petronas, for example, one FDP team will comprises, I think, 8 to 9 people just to execute a project. So if let's say you have 20 field, so you will need 20 team. Well, it all depends on the objective of the company lah. Okay, so that is where all these three, exploration, appraisal, development, are basically where we see the concentration of petroleum geoscientists. Production, yes, we do have geologists, but not as many as these three phases. Because basically production, reservoir engineers are the one that control it mostly, as they are monitoring the production. But whenever there's a problem with the production, yes, they will call upon our geologists again to look whether there are problems in terms of our model or not. Okay, so let me recap again. So the exploration phase is where we put upon one well in which we found it to be, we believe that it is to be economically viable for the company. We proposed it, and if let's say the management agree, we will drill. And once we have already proven, we will go for the next stage. Like in this diagram over here, you will see that, for example, Kurdamir 1, we know that this is the exploration well because it's the first one. And if you see at the second and the third well, you will see that their job is not to drill at the same place. Their job is to drill at the flank of the structure so that they can find the extension of this oil and gas, whether it is really until here, or if we drill here and then we found it to be dry, then we know that actually our oil, our gas is just over here. So that's how you want to do. You want to reduce your uncertainty. So once we already got what we want, we'll go for the development phase, in which we will start to do, we start to drill and do production, in which this is the part where we are making money for the company. So these two part is where company is spending money So this is where we reap the benefit of all those investment. So one thing that you should know, this exploration well, appraisal, etc., is a high risk, high return. So that's why you will know that exploration project is not as easy as it seems. One in 10 well that we drill are are believed to be discovery, but 9 others are mostly dry. Uh, just because it's something unknown, that's something that sometimes there are things that we can't control. Okay, so the career pathway. Um, okay, I'll start with these 5 because this is basically the career pathway that I see in my company. It might be different from one company to another, but in Petronas, this is basically the pathway that we can say that we usually go for. But I would not say that this is the only way. There's a lot of way to go. For example, you can start with operation geologist right away or reservoir geologist right away. But for me, my pathway is to start with the basic one, which is the well site geologist. Why do I say basic? Because basically I don't have any control in deciding where to drill. I am basically a support for a project team. So right now I am a project team, but 2 years ago I was a well site geologist, in which my job is to go to the offshore rig, analyze, evaluate, and describe the formations while drilling. So basically, I am people would say an extension lah, then an arm extension of a project team, just to help out the project team offshore, because basically all the project team would be in town, monitoring the progress of the well. So well site geologists will supervise the mud logging, MWD, and the LWD. I know this is just a jargon, but I believe you Google it, you will understand what does it mean, because this one involves with drilling acronyms, in which I will not discuss over here because it will take too long. Okay, so okay, that's well site geologist. And the next stage that I go, once I am I would say acquire all this experience in becoming well site geologist, my boss will promote me to be a operation geologist, because I can control well site geologist from town. So operation geologist is basically a median between a project team and the well site geologist. So we control the communication, because we cannot have 2 to 3 or 4 project team contacting the well site geologist right away. It will cause confusion. So in order to streamline that, you will need operation geologists that truly understood what are the drilling operations going on, supervising and supporting the well site teams throughout the drilling campaign. So operation geologists are important because basically they can speak the drilling language. One thing that you should know, that this is in my experience, I would not say every drilling people doesn't know subsurface. Yes, they do know, but not to the extent as a project team. So the operation geologists, when they become extension of this project team, they would know more about the subsurface. If you ask the drilling, they wouldn't know, because they would only strive for cost, um, whether they achieve their KPI target and etc. But in order for you, project team, to reach your geological target, you will need another person, which is this operation geologist, to have a say in making a decision offshore. Okay. All right. So this is the first two. So this is you will have a chance. For example, I've been to Myanmar. I used to work here in the middle of paddy field. It's actually a bit scary at night. And I used to work back then a lot in Sarawak waters. So, and these are the things that I do lah in the mud logging unit on top of the jackup rig. So you will see that these are the things that I will evaluate every day, day to day. My shift is 12 hours per day. So this is my job every day to day, just to check, and on top of several other tasks, of course. So here I'm showing that this cutting with oil shows would then be reported to town, in which project team will receive it as a data to know that, okay, are we really encountering oil or not? Okay. But okay, one thing that you should know, once you take up the Petroleum Geosciences course, doesn't necessarily that you must go down this road only. There's a lot of career pathways that you can go, especially when you master the geology course. For example, you can go to be specialized in chemistry, in which you can go for the geochemistry. You can go for the hydrogeology, in which your job is to find water subsurface. And then you can go for volcanology, in which your job is probably to monitor the how to say, the eruption of the volcano lah. And a lot, there's a lot. But in order for you to get to here, I would say you will need a little bit of specialized, because right now, if you go for a geoscientist course, it is not that specialized yet. It is still a general one. So it's normal for you to go for master degree, then only you will get the more specialized study lah. Okay. So the academic requirement, in my experience lah, uh, for Petronas scholarship, you will need straight A's. It's a bit hard to get a Petronas scholarship without straight A's, unless you have been sponsored back then before your SPM. Unless you have been offered by a scholarship back then, yes. But if not, you will need straight A's for that. So right now, I would like to as well promote. Petronas is having an opening right now, so you guys can check it out. There's a lot of courses that been offered, but as my topic is petroleum geoscience, go for it. Go for geoscience. Okay, and the next one, you will go for the foundation program, in which I was offered in UTP. So when you go for foundation program, for example, you will go for the Bachelor Technology of Petroleum Geoscience, we still need to pass the foundation program first. CGPA 3.0, then only the Petronas scholarship will be retained. If not, it will be cancelled, and you are needed. If let's say you want to continue study in UTP, you still need to pay on your own lah. But if let's say you pass the foundation program, you will go 4 years of study in UTP, in Petroleum Geoscience, in which at the end of your study, you will need more than 2.75 CGPA in order for you to get a structured interview. Okay, so one thing that you should be aware, even though the structured interview is considered quite low, 2.75, but there are a lot of other things that we look on aside from the CGPA. CGPA is basically used as a cutoff usually. First time cutoff, the CV, the resume before we go for a structured interview. So things that they will look at would be the communication skills, your physical fitness. I'm not saying physical fitness of your body at that time, but it's just of how you, I would say, experiences in sports and social clubs, that sort of things. They will look at how you do your problem solving, teamwork, and technical ability. So they treat these last three characters basically based on my experience, you need to relate it to your experiences in sports, social clubs, if you have programs with community, for example, you relate to that. And once your interviewee can get that from your, they can relate to your stories, it's much more easier for them to take you in. But however, I would like to also stress that future outlook, that you will probably need master's degree to further position yourself on top of other graduates. Um, I will explain that later on, and it will be such a big plus if you are well versed before the structured interview, that you are well versed, or I would say have been exposed to Petrel, DSG, rock physics, petromod, peloscans. So all these things would give you an extra edge. And I would like to also to let you guys know that actually when you look at this software, you need to know that we geoscientists deals with a lot of softwares. So can we make a career out of softwares? Yes, we can. So not, doesn't necessarily when you study geoscientist, you cannot, you must be a petroleum geoscientist. It doesn't necessarily true. You can be in Schlumberger supporting Petrel, supporting DSG from Halliburton, that sort of stuff. You know. So there are another branch in which you can go. All right. So this is the future. Okay, so if you look, this is based on the economy outlook by Petronas. So I just had a town hall with my president yesterday. So if you look at our oil market, uh, there are a lot of volatilities lah and uncertain. It started back in 2016, in which there was a surge in supply from United States, in which they do fracking. So fracking ni is basically a technique that was used to bring out the oil in much cheaper, um, but I would not say the sustainable. So that is one thing key take that you can take lah. And the impact of COVID-19 back in March 2020 further deteriorated the price, and along with OPEC problems lah. So if you look here, right, the bullish factor based on Petronas, you will see that the bullish factor for the price to go up is basically the availability of vaccine and the OPEC plus production curtailment. One thing that you should know that right now they are holding 9 million barrels per day. They are not flooding it yet. So as of today, you should know the USD per barrel is 75 and above, which is a lot higher. So they expect it to be 100 100 USD barrel per barrel. But bearish factor is that there are growth of non-OPEC supply, for example, US, and then the ease of sanction on Iran and Venezuela. So basically all these things that I can conclude is not as easy as it you can see now. You can predict 2 to 3 years in future in terms of price, yeah. But if you look at the world energy demand, you can basically forecast. If you look 2019 last year and 2030, you will see that oil and gas, okay, which is our two main product, that is what Petroleum Geoscience basically work with, is basically almost at the same level, doesn't change. But instead there are a reducement in terms of coal. As we know, the main customer for coal is in China lah. So they are reducing it in order to reduce the CO2 exposed to the environment, and it is captured by the renewable energy. So one thing that you should know, Petronas itself as a company is pivoting away as well. I'm not saying pivoting as in remove totally the traditional business, which is the oil and gas. They are adding their portfolio, which is the renewable energy, to their portfolios in order for them to have a balance, I would say, cash coming in. So if you look here, my expertise, or for you guys, it will still be needed. There will be skill shortage every time there is a change of, for example, people going for retirement or sick. You will still need people to supply it. And to be honest, yes, it's a bit slow. I will tell you realistically, it's a bit slow in terms of recruitment, just because we are trying to weather in the prospect. I mean the industry right now, but I believe they didn't stop, because the last time they did stop the employment, and they have some sort of problem in terms of a generational gap, in which there's a gap in terms of experiences. There's one group in which are very much experienced, and one group that is least experienced. They don't have the generation in between because they stop procuring. So procurement will still happen. It's just a matter of how many. So if you really think you have what it takes, you really are into petroleum geoscientist, then go for it. But for me, you're not losing anything if you, let's say, you study in UTP as taking petroleum geoscience, because you can go to a lot of other pathway. Doesn't necessarily must go to this way. So yeah. So I think for me, you will never look the nature the same way as before. You will see the wonderment of nature. For example, when you drive, you will see along the road there are some sort of outcrop. Before this, you don't care because it's just like it's just right. What is that hill? You don't care, right? But now, when you learn about all this, you will wonder that what happened here. Why is these features are a bit different? And if you look at this photo, right, you would see that mostly the people here basically have a tight face and don't know. Actually, they are being dumbfounded on what it is, because basically that is what is geology all about. The more you know, the less and less you feel about knowing them in truthfully, because in the end, only Allah knows. So this is my last slide. I would like to reiterate lah that in geology also we have a guidance lah from Allah. Dan di antara gunung-gunung itu ada garis-garis putih dan merah yang beraneka macam warnanya, dan ada pula yang hitam pekat. So all this has already been explained as well in Al-Quran. But our job as a geologist will go there and try to find out why is it red, why is it orange, that sort of stuff. Then only you will get an answer. So that is your job in this world. So that's I think 45 minutes is up, right? I think I will stop here, in which I will open up for Q&A. I'll pass it back to moderator, I guess.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Aidel. I think we have seen another angle of studies of geoscience studies tonight. Yeah, I learned a lot of things as well. So, okay, let's look at The first question, we have, are petroleum geologists is demand nowadays? I think you have explained just now, but maybe you want to add some more.
Sorry, repeat again.
Petroleum geologist is still in demand nowadays. So
Yeah,
I think you explained.
yeah, like I said just now, it is still in demand. It's just that you cannot expect it to be increase incrementally. Like for example, this year will take 50, next year will take 100, next year will take 200. No, it doesn't work that way. They will still take in, but at a steady pace because of the economy right now. If let's say they can forecast and see that the oil price will steady to a certain price in which they believe are viable for exploration and etc., then probably they will take in more. If not, it will stay as it is for now.
But the demand is always there, right?
Yeah, the demand is always there. It's just a matter of whether you want to fight for it or not lah. Yeah.
Okay. So I have one more question.
Yeah.
This is actually from me. What is the greatest challenge that you have faced during your career path? Maybe can you share your experience?
Okay, the greatest one. I think timeline lah. I think the timeline given is the greatest challenge. Because one thing that you should know in terms of company's perspective, they want to execute a project within a certain timeline because that is something that they can control. But in terms of project team, when you do your study, it's a bit hard to be constrained with time to give accurate geological analysis because there's a lot of angle that you need to look at when it comes to giving out your geological analysis. So in order for you to to fulfill that timeline, you will need to choose the best method and hope for the best. I think that is the most challenging because every single time you were assigned to a task, there are the things that we need to work first and foremost. Yep.
Yeah. So for industry, usually time is like money.
Yes,
so the more
correct.
time you spend, the more money you have to.
Correct. Yeah.
You have to give in. Yeah. Okay. So one more question. What should one do to prepare for a career as a petroleum geologist? Maybe as a student, what should they prepare now?
Okay. As a student, I think you will need to prepare in terms of your skill. Example for me, right? If I'm a recruiter, I would prefer to have somebody that is already well versed in and his technical skill. For example, your understanding on geology is strong. You can play with the model easily, and it will be a bonus if you have a skill set in terms of know how to use the softwares that I mentioned just now. It will be an extra bonus. Actually, it's not a bonus, it is a strong suit. It's like because I have never seen a student that is already good in the software except for master student. So if you go for a UTP program, right, you will see that they are introduced to this sort of softwares, and actually is an advantage. But mostly they are not well versed. They usually just learn and they just forget. I think you should continue to practice it and bring it to your interviews, and I think you will get it. I think
Okay. Right.
Yep.
So one more question. What is your biggest achievement you have so far in terms of discovering oil and gas well? Any memorable experience during your offshore days? Your biggest achievement, okay?
Biggest achievement. I okay because I deal with a lot of ranges of phase, right? For example, back then when I was in Geologist, I work on exploration well, I work on appraisal well, I work on development well. But the biggest one would be the exploration one, because that is, I would say, something that you should be proud of. It is something that is hard to come by. I think the first one would be my Pelago 1 well in Sarawak. It is a shallow well in which they found gas over there. With technical difficulties, a lot of problem during drilling. Suddenly there was a problem with the mud and everything, so we had to sidetrack the well. This is just a term, but basically what I'm trying to say that it doesn't come as easy as, oh, you drill and you found it. No, it comes with a lot of consensus, with a lot of team to get it done, and somehow in the end we able to prove it lah, as a discovery over there. That one was a good memory lah for me, because at that time is where one of the well in which it developed my skill as a negotiator, because you need to talk to a lot of people to make it work. It was a nice experience.
It was in Sarawak, is it?
Yeah,
That time?
it was in Sarawak waters at the time.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so next question. What do you think the movement and stability of oil price in the future? Oil price in the future.
I think it all depends on right now it all depends on OPEC and whether the sanction on Iran and Venezuela
Sorry, can you
is.
explain what is OPEC?
OPEC is basically, I would say, in other words, a cartel lah. A cartel done by several big countries that have oil reserve that are billions. For example, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Qatar, so Libya, they serve as a cartel, I would say, that control the price of oil throughout the world. So if you look at Brent oil price, if you look, it's up and down. Sometimes it is because of that, because the control of the oil being flood into the market or not. So it all depends on whether they want to stop producing a bit in order for the price to go up, or they want to flood the market with a lot of oils in order for the price to go down. So for now, I think outlook, it will be more than USD 40 per barrel, but I am not too optimistic that it will stay on 70 USD per barrel and going up and going up. No, I don't think so. It will play around that area, which 40 to 60 USD per barrel, which is, I think, makes sense for us as a company to work with.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
Next question. Starting salary. What will be the starting salary for geologists in Petronas?
Okay, in Petronas, I started with 4.5K. 4.5K starting. And then we have some tiers, right? So Petroleum Geoscience falls on tier 1, in which it is considered as the highest tier, I would say. So the incremental year by year is a lot more lah, compared to tier 2 or tier 3 personnel. So yeah, 4.5K for a starting job, I think is good enough in Malaysia. Although If you go for other companies, it's a lot higher.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, one of my friend was offered in I think in Qatar. I think his starting salary was already 8k, and that one is after tax. So yeah, there's a lot. So actually, it depends on which company you go to. So for Petronas is 4.5k, in which I think is good enough. Alhamdulillah rezeki, good enough for Malaysia.
That is for fresh grad, right?
Yeah,
Without
yeah, yeah,
experience.
yeah. You can buy motor already at that time. For me, back then, I yeah, I didn't buy anything. Cannot tell. Yeah.
Okay. So next
Yeah.
question. What is the one memorable mistake that you have made in your university or career life?
Mm-hmm.
But if you have a chance, you never change anything about it. So one of the mistake that you have made,
Mm-hmm.
and if you have a chance, you never change anything about it. Usually we don't want to change our past because it make who we are today. But maybe you can remember any of your mistake that you have done before.
Mistake.
Mm.
It's a good question because usually people always remember the good memories, right? The bad
Yes,
memories they don't
yes.
remember. But actually,
Mm.
one mistake was to, I think, character lah. It's actually it teach me a lot lah. I One mistake that I did was to follow my head too much. Meaning, you think you know everything, so you make your own decision and you end up uh, get punished for it lah. That is one mistake. But would I change it? I wouldn't, because it teaches me to be always respectful lah to other people, even though you think they don't know, but it's not your job to tell it to their face that they don't know what. It's your job is to teach them. That is something that makes me always remember lah that mistake, in order for me to feel that you are actually on a journey lah in Petronas. It's not as take it just finish work and go home, not necessarily true. Yeah.
Okay. So we can relate
That's
back
a good
what
that's
you
a good
what.
question. I would want to know who asked the question.
Yeah, that's from student actually. Let me
That's a
read
good
her
question.
name. Okay, Hamiza. Okay, this is the question
Hamiz.
from student named Hamiza. Thank you for your question, Hamiza. Okay. One more. Is there any graduate in petroleum geologist that not able to secure any job? If so, what are the industry that this graduate can go for?
Okay.
Alternative industry lah.
Yeah. Okay. I can relate to this. My batch was 40 plus person manpower lah. When we graduated, I think half. Okay. Wait. In geoscience, that really do geoscience, I would say 30-40%. Not a lot. But others, they go for mostly they go for higher study. They will go for masters. Like I said, the reason being is to position yourself better, because once you have a master, once you already specialize, but you need to be clever as well in choosing the master degree. If you really want to go for petroleum geoscience, you need to go for masters that are really related to the uh, to the field. You cannot go and take something masters and coursework, for example, and expect you to be enroll in the industry, you will need something. For me, from what I notice, those people that go for paperwork study, meaning like go for research lah, research, sorry, not paperwork, research, they tend to get a higher chance in getting hired, especially because of their expertise in that subject. When you focus on being a geochemistry subject in master degree, you will tend to get hired because your technical expertise are needed. There are a lot in, for example, in Petronas, the specialist part are the one that is lacking talent right now. For example, the petroleum system modeling, the structural geologist, the what else? That sort of stuff. So basically, lack in talent. They don't have because other personnel in other department are basically the, I would say, marhain lah, the general one like me, but not we are not specialized, so they cannot just grab you and train you again. If let's say, might as well just take a master student that already well versed and work from there. So that's why I said the master degree in associated field would position yourself better.
All right.
I believe that is my opinion lah. Doesn't necessarily true.
It's okay. So maybe have more advice to the student to achieve their dreams. Some advice from you.
Okay. Oh, that's advice. Achieving your dream. Actually, know what is your dream actually. Is it really your dream? Because I still remember this. My dream last time was to be a mechanical engineer. But then when I study geoscience and everything, suddenly when I make a living out of it, when I look back down the years, I think this is where I want to be. This is where I belong, I feel. So in a way, get to know yourself first. What you really want to be. Do you think you want to do this for the next 10, 20, 30 years? Not because of the pay, not because of the fame that surrounds the field, but you do it because you believe that you can do it for the next 30 years, because it's not easy lah. Your dream probably would want to make money only. If let's say you want to make money, go for something that is something that can really make money lah. A lot of ways lah, macam main saham, that sort of stuff. Or your dream is to really, for example, to know nature, yeah, go for it, for Petroleum Geoscience, something like that. So yeah, I think my uptake is to get to know yourself first, like really get to know.
So that you can enjoy while doing your work.
Correct.
Not just because something else.
Not because of something else. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Can you share the latest project that Petronas is doing right now? Maybe you know any of the project, the latest project?
You mean me? I the one that I'm doing, or?
Yeah, maybe related to your project.
Okay, related to my project. If you read news recently, there were a discovery in offshore Sarawak called Sirong 1. This is already been published, Sirong 1. But what I'm working on is something that is close to it, or I would say in proximity lah, to that. So I cannot tell you because it's I work for a company, right? So I cannot tell that because it's a sensitive information. But yes, that is my project right now. Sorry, I cannot tell you much because I am bound on keeping it as a secret lah. It's a company strategy, right?
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so I think we.
Hold on, I have a question to ask.
Okay. Yes,
All
please.
right.
Irham, is it?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Hello.
Hello.
I have some points to emphasize.
Mm-hmm. Hello.
Irham, are you still there?
First of all, estimate shows by a geologist M. King Howard. Second, amount of greenhouse. Third, the byproduct of petroleum. Fourth, every new car will going to be electric or hydrogen fuel cell in the future. And the fifth, a lot of
Sorry,
environmental.
Irham.
Yes.
Can you repeat back because I didn't. I think you went offline for a short while in the beginning. Sorry, but can you repeat it back?
From the start.
Yes, please.
Okay. Estimate shows fossil fuel oil will run out in 2030 and other fossil fuels in 2050. It is predicted by a geologist M. King Howard. Second one, as we've learned, oil companies generate a massive amount of greenhouse gas that cause climate crisis. And the third is the byproduct of petroleum, which are used to make plastics, are getting banned in the future. The fourth, every new car will going to be electric and hydrogen fuel cell in the future. The fifth, a lot of environmental conservation organizations such as Greenpeace and Fridays for Future are raising awareness to civilians to protest oil companies and demand 100% renewable energy by 2030. So
Correct.
I have two questions for you, sir. The first one, fossil fuels are getting depleted over time. And by the time I were to work in those fields, is there any fossil fuel left? Second questions, people are getting acknowledged that fossil fuels that oil companies contribute to environmental crisis.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Plus, people are converting.
I can't hear the second one.
Yes.
I think the first question was whether the oil.
Still oil,
Yeah.
available.
Yeah. I think for the second one, probably you can type it, Irham, and moderator can read it to me later on. Okay.
Hello, can you hear that?
Yeah, you can type the second question to the moderator and he will read it to me because I cannot hear you clearly.
But can you hear the points that I reiterate? Yes, sir.
Correct. Yes, I can hear that.
Okay, I'm typing right now.
Yep. Okay. Interestingly, in order for you to achieve a state where you utilize 100% renewable energy, you will need to produce more from petroleum. I'm not saying this based on things that I said this based on the things that I read as well as things that I have seen from my company. Saying that before you reach that stage, you will see a peak of oil first. So production of oil is needed because what I've said to you just now, all those the solar panels and everything, you will still need fossil fuel to produce it first because it doesn't come out from magic or something that suddenly poof it's there. You will need the petroleum products in order to get these facilities ready. So the production will still keep on going, and whether it is going to be depleted, this is where your job comes in. You will need to add to the portfolio again and again. You add the portfolio, the reserve that you need to find you will keep on adding it, because you're talking about there's thousands of basins around the world, and you will keep on trying to add the portfolio. For example, the work that I've been doing is actually to add a portfolio to Malaysia's oil and gas reserve. That is my job. That's why it is important that my job is to be there in order to open up our how to say, our economic dependent, because our country is depending on it. We need to keep on doing this uh, in order for Malaysia survival. But I'm not saying that renewable energy would not be able to share this energy demand. I would say that we will share it, but will it totally gone off? No, I don't think it will. You will still need it. So to your question, whether by the time you graduate it is gone, I don't think so, because for example, it will take you what, 7 to 8 years, probably 5 to 6. That is such a short time. You would not see the depletion of oil, that are billions right now in reserve, suddenly gone. You will still be there. So that's the answer to your first question. I hope that answers your question. The second one, can the
The
moderator? Yeah.
second one, people are getting acknowledged that oil company contribute to climate crisis. Plus, people are converting fuel cell car to electric, and companies do to be more sustainable? And is there any bright future into it? So because we are now moving to
Mhm.
a more sustainable energy, right? So is there any
Correct.
bright future into it?
Bright future into what? Oil and gas, is it? I think
Yes,
it's oil
yes.
and gas. Okay. Um. Okay. This is a perspective of whether it really is a two side of a spoon kind of perspective you need to look at. Whether it will, I would not, I didn't believe that it will completely take out the oil and gas out of the picture. We'll never be able to do that, because uh, there are how many countries that are well developed in order to do the renewable energy as a main source of energy. But how many other countries that really depends on oil and gas still? There's a lot more. So it's not just a one factor that determines all of it. It involves a lot of factors: the climate, the socio-economic of a country, the policies. There's a lot more. So it's not as simple as, yes, we do acknowledge that the big countries are seeing going towards this way, but it's all an appetite for current being. You will never know in the futures to come. There's a possibility that it is not sustainable in doing the renewable energy. We don't know yet. Now is in the phase where they are trying to do a mass produce in order for the price to go down, the cost of doing the renewable energy to go down. But before we reach to that level, they will still need years to get to that stage. I don't believe it will get there in the next 5 or 7 years to come. You'll still need time to do so. Mm, I hope, I really hope by the time I retire lah, finish. So that I still have a job until I retire.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we we don't have any more questions. So I think
Mm.
we come to an end of our talk tonight. So thank you very
Yes.
much. Mr. Aidel Haikal,
You're
for
welcome.
spending your time. Okay,
It has been,
time.
yes, it has been a pleasure to give something back to my alumni in ANSARA Taiping and UTP lah, specifically.
Yes, yes.
So it's been a pleasure.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Aidel. I believe that we all have increased our knowledge in geoscience petroleum. So we know that tonight there is an interesting about geoscience petroleum, that these are the people that important in terms of to explore the petroleum, right?
Correct.
So I hope that the knowledge that we have tonight will help the student to choose their career path in the future after this. Okay.
Yes.
Many thanks as well. We would like to address to our audience who have been watching us tonight. If you know someone who could benefit from this talk, just share. You can share the link of our talk tonight, and you can also watch it back in YouTube channel of ANSARA Taiping. So again, before we end, I would like to address thank you to our strategic partner. We have Unit Perkhidmatan Bimbingan and Counselling MRSM Taiping, Center for Foundation Studies, University Teknologi Petronas, TNF Energy Sdn Bhd, Amans Media, and Outpost Taiping. So before we end our session, let us close our talk tonight with Tasbih Kafarah and Suratul As. Okay, so thank you all. Remember to follow SOP and stay safe. Have a great weekend. Assalamualaikum and good night.